Hey there! I hope you're having a beautiful day. I'm Becky North, and I'm here with my favorite flamingo, Lacey Verbick. How are you today, Lacey?
Hi, Becky. I'm doing great today. I spent pretty much my whole entire Sunday morning and early afternoon playing in my plant room, so
Mm.
I'm a happy girl. Capped it off with a tropical smoothie. Have you been to this place, Tropical Smoothie Cafe? It was pretty delicious. I had one of their smoothie. I guess it was a smoothie bowl.
Mm.
Bahama Mama smoothie bowl, and it had all this yummy, delicious, healthy looking stuff on top. So,
Yum.
overall, it's been a great Sunday, and now I'm here with you. So,
Mm.
doesn't get better than that. How have you been?
It was a bit of a crazy week in our house, but I am very grateful for the little bit of unseasonably warm weather that we are experiencing and the sunshine I've got to have on my face. I'm grateful for a little bit of a long weekend too, to just make sure that we're rested and ready for what's to come. So, yeah.
I love that for you. I forgot it's a long weekend.
Long
I am
weekend.
going to work tomorrow, so I do not have a long weekend. But that's awesome that you get a
Well,
break. So I love that.
I'm sorry for you. And
Well, I mean, honestly, work is work.
work is work.
Usually, usually when there's a Monday off or a Monday holiday, I usually go back Tuesday thinking it's Monday anyway. So
Monday
I
on a
might as well go
Tuesday.
to work.
Yeah. Yeah, I experienced that a lot, I think, where I'm like, ooh, I don't actually know that this was better. like
I
like
mean,
in
it
the
sort of
moment it
throws a
feels great.
wrench. It does.
But
It sort of
uh
throws a wrench in a couple different ways. But I always love a day off. But it's not in the cards for me right now. But I don't know. It's been a really fun kind of just chill weekend for us. So
I love that.
I'm kind of ready for it. Ready to get back in the swing of the week. So
Swing of the week. Okay. Well, welcome back to the Overextended Mom series. In part one, Book Solid, we talked about overscheduling and how we slowly filled each and every inch of our calendars until there's no space left to breathe. In part two, Giving Until It Hurts, we got honest about the emotional and physical toll of consistently pouring out without ever refilling.
today we're wrapping up this series with part three, my favorite part. Just say no. Because here's the truth: we can't keep living booked solid. We cannot keep giving until it hurts. At some point, something has to shift. In this episode, we're talking about how to say no without apologizing for existing, how to stop explaining every decision, how to choose your energy wisely, and how to create a life that feels sustainable, not suffocating. Ooh, I'm ready for this one, Becky. Like
I'm
I said,
excited about
I
this
love
one.
to say no, so I'm excited. So
I love to say no. I am learning to love to say no, but like I have notes.
oh, that's a lot of notes, girl. You better you
yeah.
better lead us off then.
Well, I wrote big, so but um, I'm gonna start with kind of an open-ended question. And Lacey, if you want to answer this, you can. But if not, I think it's still a good place to start. But the thing that really came up for me in this episode, because I think that sometimes we definitely talk about what we need to hear, right? And
Oh
saying
yeah.
no is something that I am practicing. And so, but as a recovering people pleaser, the question that just kept coming up in my mind was, if you're not the one who always says yes, who are you?
Ooh, I got goosebumps and everything. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
that was a
Wow,
great
that's a
question. And
deep
I was
one.
like, okay, universe, heard.
That's a
like,
deep one. Boy, they challenged you with that one.
yeah.
That's a big one. Um, I could not have answered this 5 years ago. I don't think I could have answered it honestly 5 years ago. For me today, I am a woman who prioritizes me. The person I am is someone who knows my worth, who knows my value, and refuses to give it away.
I love that.
Okay, let me clarify. Refuses to give it away to people in circumstances that don't deserve me.
Yeah.
Or don't deserve it, right? The it that I bring, right? If they don't deserve that, I'm not her. I'm not her any longer. Nope. It's yeah. I still struggle with that sounding selfish, Becky, but that really feels true for me. That I no longer just unselfishly and without boundaries and guardrails give of myself. I no longer do that. That is not aligned.
Can I applaud you for that?
My next chapter, for the chapter that's coming. And so I'm at the end. I'm at the end of maybe the first chapter, right? And or coming up on the end of the first chapter, or maybe second chapter of my life, however you want to look at it. And this new chapter, that is not aligned. So it's a big change, and it's a shift, but it's a it's a shift, but it's a good one, and I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to it, honestly. And the more I touch in with it, like the deeper I go into it, the more empowered, the more relieved, the more happy, the more healed, the more, at peace I am.
I love that. I don't know that I could answer that question right now today. Honestly. And that's...
Well, you know what? I love that. I love that honesty.
Yeah.
I love that you're just like, yeah, no. I don't have an answer to that now.
I actually wrote under it. It's funny. I'm not going to share this, but I wrote under it, like, do you actually want to say this? You don't have an answer. I wrote those notes underneath it. Like, do you actually want to say this? You don't have an answer. But something that we promised as a community is that we would always come with truth and heart and growth and love and space. And I think especially as we're coming into a conversation where we're talking about saying no, and the things that come with that, boundaries and relationships and all of those things, like, this is a hard one. And I know we've talked about boundaries and stuff before, but like, I just want to say to anybody listening, like, it doesn't matter where you are in the journey. We are all in this together, and you're safe here. And so you don't have to have the answer to the question, right? And you can still feel safe to ask it, because we learn and grow with each other. So if you can't answer the question and you're listening to us on socials, tell us. You can message us, you can email us, you can text us, you can do whatever you want. But I would say, and if you're not ready to answer yet, that's okay too.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to add one little thing to that, is I think it's really important not to judge your answer. Don't judge your answer. Whatever the answer is what the answer is. And I also think that, Becky and I are a prime example of this in the here and the now, that your answer is going to change. Your answer is going to change. Your answer at 35 is different than your answer at 40. Your answer at 40 is different than your answer at 45. Right? Yeah. But the important thing is you're asking.
Yeah.
You're asking the question. You're making space for your own discernment and and your own growth and change, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the kick.
Yes. Beautiful.
Love that, Becky. Great. What a fun way to start this out. That was a good
bam.
You got
well,
me.
That's all I have today, ladies. Sorry.
Write down, girl. Write down. One of the things that came up for me first today was that we don't have to break first. What I mean, I'm going to expand on this. We can't, when we are constantly running, when we say yes to everything, when we give till it hurts, when we run our world booked, solid 24/7, something's going to break. Something is going to break, and that thing that's going to break is important, pivotal to probably the continued rotation of your solar system, the solar system that is your family, you know, in your world, right? If when that something breaks, if that something is you, right?
Yeah.
But 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 what I wanted to share is that you don't have to break first.
You don't have to break first.
You don't have to break first. Make decisions before you break. Get ahead of it a little bit. You know, think if you feel like you're about to crash and burn, you are.
You are. Don't
You
brace
are.
for impact, like oxygen mask.
Don't
Now.
brace for impact, but you've got. If you feel something coming, you're right. And if you can head it off before you break. I think a lot of women, and probably in my younger years, I thought this too, that, well, maybe I'll break, but maybe I won't, and I'll deal with that when I get there, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a thing far off in the distance. It's a maybe. It's a, well, you know,
That won't happen to me.
Maybe I'll get a chance to go to the stress center and get away from my children for a few days if I break, right? Like, I think there's a lot of just avoidance and like, well, I don't know for sure if I'm going to break, so I'll just. And when I say break, I mean a lot of different things probably, but in general, I mean, you know, a mental health breakdown, a nervous breakdown, you know, I have to run away because I can't take my life, right? I have to sleep for a week. I have to, you know, everything's so hard. I have to, you know, numb with alcohol or start taking drugs, or I don't, you know, it could mean a lot of different things, right?
Right.
But I just want to say out loud, you don't have to get there.
Yeah. I have something similar on my list.
Yeah.
Mine was like the cost of saying yes. Like, what does it cost us when we say yes? And like, this was it. It's crazy because I love the analogy of breaking. I love that so much. And for me, when this came to me, because it did come to me, I want to be really clear about that. I was like, man, we are actually paying something when we say yes. It's not just that we're giving, it's that we are, like, our bank is only so big, right?
Yes.
And so we get given to and we give out of it, and there's only so much in that. And when we give and we give and we give, things like resentment happen, like you said, things like, you know, mental breakdowns. And I want to be conscious with that, like, because mental health is something that Lacey and I take both very, 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 very seriously. And but even just the, I have to get out of my house tonight because I cannot be around these people any longer, right? Like, I want to also normalize that part, that I need a break part is okay, right? The you're super short-tempered all the time because we're giving away all of our energy in other places, right? The lesson that we're teaching our kids, this is normal. This is not normal. This is not normal. And like, when we are in we've pushed ourselves till we break, or till we're just about to break, we are no longer living like intentionally. We're living reactively.
Yes. Great point.
Right? And you cannot live reactively and things feel calm and good. Like, you can't, because like any movement could make the bomb go off.
Yes. Yes. And there has to be space in order to get proactive, right? There has to be space for you to get in front of the ball. And if you
Yeah.
never give yourself, if that space is never created, you never give yourself that space, you'll always be in a position of reaction,
Right.
as Becky said. And yes, there's always going to be something to react to. Sure, of course. It's life. There's always going to be something to react
Yep.
But the difference is this your everyday, and are you just getting punched in the face? Or are you navigating,
Exactly.
situations?
Yeah. Well, I think, Lacey, that would here's my next question.
Yeah, let's go.
Why do you think we find it so hard to say no? I have some notes, but I'd love to hear some of your thoughts here. Why
Oh boy, I'm in
why
the
do
hot
you
seat.
think why do we think that? Because it's obviously a thing, right? And I think it's a thing that everybody, maybe not everybody, but almost everybody deals with at least at some point in their life, even if they're not there for a long time, right? But why do we say, why is yes the automatic answer?
Because no feels hard. Because no is because I think there's a perception that no is selfish.
Yep.
I think there's some level of shame and embarrassment that surrounds I can't or I choose not to. I think there's a lot of sort of social dynamics going on there. I think there's it's 100% connected to people pleasing, and
Absolutely.
and I am right there with you as a recovering people pleaser. So definitely those are connected for me. I think it goes back to the whole good girl phenomenon. Which I actually heard someone on a podcast last week that I was listening to talk about this, and I won't say it probably as eloquently as she did, but she basically said that women grow up with this idea that we have to be a good girl, right? That in order to be loved and accepted and wanted and included, we have to be a good girl. And what do good girls do? Well, good girls say yes, right? That there's
Ugh.
I know it's gross. It is. But it's true. Think about it. What did your parents and grandparents say to you growing up? Oh,
Yeah.
come on now, just be a good girl.
Yeah.
You know,
I have
it's-
conditioning. I have.
like it
We've
or
been
not, we
conditioned.
carry that around.
Yeah.
So when the time comes for us to say no and hold the line, or step away from a situation that we don't need to be a part of, we have the shame of well, if you say no, you won't be a good girl, right?
Or even as far
that's
as
not what good girls say.
Yeah, I'm even gonna go as far to say saying no means you're a bitch, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you're being such a bitch about it. Just do it. Yeah, no, I had conditioning on mine too. I have we've been conditioned to be agreeable, helpful, and accommodating.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think that this is not just a man versus woman thing. Let's be honest about that. This is far more than that. I think there is some of that, right? But also good gravy, PTO is a great example. Oh, you should get involved. You should volunteer more in your kids' school. You should, that's just not what everybody should do. It's just not. Should is not the word to use there.
No,
Yeah,
but notice
so-
how many times you said should just then.
Yeah.
You said should 6 times in 2 seconds.
Yep.
Should is it's just a word that needs to be erased from our vocabularies altogether, because guess what? We are the
Yeah.
rulers of our experience.
No more
And
shoulding.
There is no should.
Yeah, no,
There
I
is no
agree.
should. Really?
I agree. I also had on my list fear of disappointment. Right? And that definitely connects back to the people pleasing and are you being a good girl, right? And then the other note that I had here that I wanted to say was are we confusing being needed with being valued?
Oh boy. Uh-huh. The answer is heck freaking yes for me.
Heck yes.
Heck freaking yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely we are. Because yeah, just now, I would say north of 40 for me, I started to really understand my value. I started to understand when I wasn't being valued. I started to understand that the treatment I was receiving from people was tied to the value they assigned to our relationship. Yeah. I mean, I think the value is a huge key word in this conversation.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to. I know you have notes too, so I'm gonna let you take the
So
next.
good.
The next.
So good.
Right? It's so good. Yeah.
I'm sitting over here like digesting all those truth bombs you just dropped. I I want to say that I just wrote down the word distance. Distance, I think it's really important to distance yourself from shoulds. Because, and also distance yourself from people who you find it difficult to say no to. And I'm not talking about distancing from your kids or your husband, or like I'm saying, in a social landscape, if there's someone who puts pressure on you constantly, or shoulds you into doing things, or corners you and asks you to do things that are not fair to ask, distance yourself from those people. Get the message, right? The message is that this is not helpful or healthy. The message is, I feel put upon, I feel shame, I feel out of alignment, I feel obligated, I feel shoulded. Well, why are you with that person?
Yeah.
Or why are you in that? Why are you choosing to be in the scenario that makes that possible or brings that about? Like, I understand there's always, I understand sometimes you can't get away. Sometimes there's, circumstances that don't allow distance. But I think distance is an important thing to consider, that you don't have to continue to subject yourself to a thing just because it's in or around your environment. Like, just stop it.
Yeah.
No, I don't need to. I'm not going to go to this place where I encounter this person who puts me into this, shame spiral, or makes me do things, or, prompts me to do things that aren't aligned, aren't good for me, and I shouldn't feel obligated to.
Absolutely. I think boundaries, right? Like 1,000,000%. Like, I think we hear the word boundaries, and I think that means a lot of things for a lot of people, but really boundaries are defining what keeps us well and keeps us safe. Right? And that they're important in relationships. In all relationships, they are important, even like with your children. But I think
So much.
like the reason I bring that point, Lacey, is because you talked about, like, don't put yourself in that position. And sometimes we do have to look at our relationships and say, like, is this healthy for me? And it doesn't matter if that relationship is with somebody who you thought was your best friend, or if that relationship is with your parent. Right? And I think that especially our generation is seeing a lot more of this, especially with their parents, right? Because I don't know about you, but I know, and I've talked about this before, but I was definitely raised in the we're family and family does everything for family house. Like, and you know what? I'm actually telling my kids, like, that's not true. You need to be nurturing your relationship with your brother and your sister right now, because
that's right.
Because they don't have to be a part of your life when you're older.
Yes, girl. I totally agree. And as a matter of fact, I said that to my son just today, because he was saying something rude or snarky about his sister, and I said, listen, boy, you will want a relationship with her someday.
Yeah.
Yes, she's at a particular age and stage where she's a little she's got a lot going on. She's a little preoccupied, right? Like there's some life stage stuff going on that he
Yeah.
thinks is difficult. I said that relationship is going to be one, it's going to be one that lasts, and it's going to be one you're going to want. It's going to
Yeah.
be a connection that's going to matter to you when we're gone, or whatever the situation is, and
Yeah.
you got to pour into it. It's
Yeah.
something to invest in. So I agree, Becky, and I think that stands alone as good advice, so long as the person is healthy for you, right?
Agreed. Absolutely.
With that person is healthy for you, and that's a
Yeah.
question you get to ask yourself again and again, right?
Again
On
and
repeat.
again.
Keep asking, does this work
Yeah.
for me? Yeah,
Does.
if it does, great, awesome. Keep it going. If there comes a point where it no longer serves, I'm not the person. I'm not inclined to just cut it off at the first sign of trouble.
Right.
I'm not that person, but at the same time, I get very clear signals in my body when something is not good, when something does not serve. It's no longer aligned. It's not for me. Okay, that's all I need
Yeah.
to know.
Well,
And I alluded to the fact that I'm really good at saying no, Becky, and but that's part of the reason. Like,
Yeah.
I get I'm into energy and metaphysics and all the woo and all the things. Okay, so like I've trained my body over time to let me know if something is aligned or not aligned. And one of the
Yeah.
ways it does that is through goosebumps. I think everybody's
Yeah.
probably heard that term, goosebumps, where your skin kind of raises up and you feel this kind of tingle go through your body. Like that's for me, that's a sign that something is aligned. So I ask, so when I'm in a situation where maybe I'm unsure, or maybe I'm feeling really intimidated and gross, and I'm not sure if this relationship is, working, or it's just something complex that I need to sit with or discern over. Like, I touch in with my body, and I quiet myself, and I ask, is this my highest and best good? Or ask whatever question makes sense for you. Right. And
Yeah.
if I get a strong signal one way or the other, if the answer is no, then that's the answer, period. The end. And I feel this is important, Becky. I feel empowered by my process. I'm emboldened by my process of discernment that involves listening closely to my body. So my recommendation or advice here in this moment with all of you beautiful ladies listening is, if no is hard for you, if you struggle to even let those words pass your lips, figure out where the no lives in your body, or at least where the heck yes lives.
Yeah.
Right? In your body. And then when you're in a situation, quiet yourself, take a few deep breaths, tune in. And whatever the answer is, listen for the answer. Whatever the answer is, that's the answer. Period. And because it makes no, actually for me, it makes no kind of laughable. I'm actually entertained by my no when I know that it came from, when I know it is truth from my body and it is aligned for my highest and best good. Saying no is actually funny. It's like, oh, it's a no for me.
I've witnessed this like in real life with Lace. That's why I'm giggling. It's because I've seen it, and it's empowering to watch you stand in so much power in saying no. Like, so thank you for being a great example of that.
Well, thank you for seeing me that way. It's kind of like, if you can imagine, I'm gonna for those of you watching us on YouTube, I'm gonna give you a little visual here. Saying no from here feels much different than saying no from here.
Yep.
right? Saying no from your mind is like, oh, I'm thinking it's a no. Oh, I'm worried what the other person is thinking. Oh, I'm spinning up all these different scenarios and I'm running all these scripts and I'm all these old beliefs are coming up and right? And there's all this noise, right? And then the no from here is like, nope, boom. Like it's so clear. And this takes some practice and feel free to reach out to me if you have questions or want to learn more about that. But it's it's from your heart center, and that's where truth lives.
Yes.
So our minds tell us a lot of stories, and there's a lot of noise up there. There's a lot of ego up there, right? There's a lot of things that can skew, the accuracy of our feeling and our impressions about things.
Yep.
Right? So try coming from the heart space instead of the head space and see how your no feels.
Yeah. Yeah. You hit on several things that I want to bounce around with. The one thing I want to say before I talk about, because you talked a little bit about guilt, and I want to talk about that too, but I want to hit back on boundaries for just a second and say that I was listening to this girl that I really like, and her name is Alicia, and she was talking about boundaries, and I'm going to tag her in our stuff because I really appreciate her as just a content creator. And she was like, you cannot have boundaries without saying, like, when you cross this line, this is the consequence. So we think about natural parenting or like gentle parenting, right? And like, here's the natural consequence. And I think when you're looking at boundaries with your time, when you're looking at boundaries in your relationships, when you're looking at any of that and you're trying really to tap into that, is this good for me, right? I have a little bit of a different process there, right? I ask, does it serve me? And if I'm told no, like you said, Lacey, it's not automatically like, whoops, in the dumpster necessarily, right? But the next question I ask is, do I want it to?
Ooh, great. Love that.
Right? Because that's a really deciding factor for me. But when we're like, boundaries are important, but boundaries have, like, if you cross this is what will happen.
Yep.
And again, that doesn't matter who it's with, right? With your children, with your, like, and I'm not like, rah, 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 right? But like, a really good example of a time boundary, our kids are involved and we have 3 of them, and that makes our schedules busy, and that's the part of life that we're in, and that's okay. But like, my daughter gets FOMO about everything. She wants to be involved in everything. Like, she just is really afraid that she's missing out. And so we've had a lot of conversation of, if you do this, then we have to give something else up, right? And she tried really hard to outsmart me like a couple months ago, and she was like, Mom, I think I want to do ice skating, and if we do ice skating on Wednesdays, I don't have to give anything up because we don't have anything on Wednesdays. And so the conversation that we got to have in that moment was, well, Wednesdays is Mom's only night off. Like, so yes, if we do ice skating, you still have to give something else up, right? Like, it's not there's just a bump here, right? And so I think that's a really important part about boundaries that I want to just make sure that we say out loud, is that it's really easy to be like, yes, I have boundaries, but like, anybody can walk right over that line if there's not a consequence. Right? Like,
I think, the difficult part for me about I love the idea of consequences. I think where I get a little stuck in delivering on consequences is, how do you illuminate the potential consequences for someone in your life who's, say, not your child?
Yeah. Well, I think we need to be able to have open and honest conversations, and that's not always easy, right?
No,
it's no secret. I've talked about a lot on here about my complicated relationship with my mom, and I very clearly, the last time, probably the highest version of me I've ever been in her presence. Like, I was like, here's the boundary, and if you cross it, this is what's going to happen. And when she did cross it, I reminded her, because she was scared, It was a moment of fear for her. And I was like, this is the only, that's okay, you're going to get. And if you cross it again, like, here's what's going to happen. And as hard as it was, that's what had to happen after it crossed again. And I have to say, in a relationship that is really complicated there, it was the best thing I could have ever done. It was the best thing I could have ever done for me and my personal mental health and my that. But this goes back to, and we talked about this in the last episode, Lacey, about like having the hard conversations to if you have the friend or the person in your life where you are the one that's constantly giving and giving and giving and giving and giving, that you have to have the hard conversation so resentment doesn't build. Right? Yes, and definitely. I think that there are seasons where we give and there are seasons where we need to take, right? As people, that's how it is. That's why we have people in our lives. But I think, like, you can't be like, oh, they're such a bad friend, but not ever tell them that, because that's not fair to you or them. Right? Because they may not know. They may not have that awareness. Yep. And, so I think that's what it comes back to. And I know we talked about that, was really just having the hard conversation. And that's hard. That's hard. That's hard to do with your friends. It's hard to do with your spouse. It can be hard to do with your kids. It's hard to do with your parents or extended family. Like, it's hard because it goes back to that. You're supposed to be a good girl and you're supposed to show up and you're supposed to give and it's family, and family shows up for family no matter what. And all of those things, right? The supposed to's and the shoulds and all of that. And, that's the hardest part about being a grown up, is saying, like, hey, I have to draw a line in the sand for my well-being, and my well-being affects my whole family, my children and my husband's well-being.
Yes.
Because if you don't think that if I am short-tempered and I have a short fuse and I am like, whoa, that my whole house doesn't feel it. Oh, yeah. And then the people that they're around feel it, and then the people that they're around feel it, and the ripple is big. Yes. So we can choose to say, I'm going to make a good ripple, or we can choose to be pissy and still make a ripple. Either way.
I love it. Yeah, the ripple, the visual of the ripple has always just really resonated with me. I love that, because you don't necessarily think. I think it's interesting for moms. You don't necessarily know how deeply effective you are to your household and the people in it. But I've had my children reflect back to me multiple times. They're like, Mom, when Mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. They're like, that is so true. Like, this house turns, like, we walk on eggshells as soon as, like, something goes down and Mom's pissed. Like, oh, you know, they have reflected to me the way that they feel when that is happening in our house, and I'm always like so ashamed and like humbled, like, oh my God, I can't believe I made you guys feel that way. Right? But it's true that when we don't say no, we put ourselves in the position to have those negative ripples. We put ourselves in a position to overdo, to overextend, to overpromise, to overdeliver, and then we're dry and cracked, and we take it out on our families.
Yep.
Or we can take it out on our families. I'm not saying we always do, but but the thing is about no for me, Becky, I've practiced no a lot. I practiced intentionally saying no whenever I can. And not because I want to be obtuse, and not because I want to be antisocial or anything else, but it's hard for me to lay it down when I have to, when I know I should, when I have to. It's hard. It's a stretch for me to do. So I practice intentionally in small ways so that I'm more comfortable when the time comes. When I have to say, that's a hard no. That's a hard no. Nope, thank you. I'm out. when I
Yeah.
have to say that, I'm better able when I practice saying no. Like people, like for example, fun example from the other day, I went to Mike's Car Wash. It's not called Mike's Car Wash anymore. It's called Crew Car Wash here in Indiana. But anyway, fancy car wash thing. Well, I went in there on a Saturday, and it was busy as heck. Of course, there was a line a million miles long, and I finally got up to the little gal who was doing the selling, and she said, "Would you like to add a $25, this or that unlimited pass or some kind of thing?" And I was like, nope. Just, and I was like, huh, I just said no. How about that? Like, so it's little things like that. Like, practice doing those things, and certainly try to be polite. Try not to be, try not to show up like
Yeah.
a try not to show up nasty in public, okay? But you can say no without being nasty,
Yeah.
right? And well, for example, I said nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Nope is no, right? The
Yeah.
answer is no, but I said nope, which for me made it a little bit more casual, a little bit softer.
Yeah.
But it didn't change my answer. So maybe that's a workaround. If you're not extremely comfortable saying no,
No.
then maybe say no, thank you.
No, thank you.
Maybe
Yep.
say that feels like a no,
Yeah.
or no, I don't think so. No, right?
That
Maybe,
doesn't work for me right now.
Right,
That's-
this
that's a
doesn't
good
work
one.
for me right now,
Or
or I
even
can't. I
yeah,
can't,
or let me check my calendar.
or I don't want to.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, think about the different ways that no could come out and still hold that line and still protect your peace and
Yeah.
still, get the point across to move on with your day.
Yeah.
So that was something, that was an important little note. But also, I want to share really quick, and I'll pass it back to you, Becky. You don't have to explain yourself.
Yes. This is so
Don't.
like.
Do not explain yourself. No. The answer.
Yep, and
is
stop
no,
apologizing.
And that's enough.
It doesn't
Sorry?
have to be. You don't have to apologize for it. Stop apologizing. Stop over explaining and stop apologizing.
No,
Like
because
no is
you
a
know
complete
what? You know what?
sentence.
To be really, really frank, have you ever been on the receiving end of someone's over explanation about
Yeah.
why it's a no? Nobody
Yeah.
really likes that shit.
No.
I don't like to receive it, but I was always inclined to give it
Yeah.
because I thought it was the kinder thing, but it isn't. It isn't the kinder thing. It would be much easier and much kinder overall to just be like, sorry, that doesn't work. Peace out. I gotta go. Whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, just I find myself saying a lot, and I'm not proud of myself. I'm still learning every single day, but I do practice this. I say that doesn't feel right.
That doesn't feel right.
No. Like sometimes if I have to say no and it's a little bit of a maybe touchy situation or whatever, I'll say that doesn't feel right. Because I do tune
love
into
that.
my body. I do I do discern from feeling in my body, in my heart center. I do that. So for me, it is the truth to say that doesn't feel aligned or that doesn't feel right. So, find your own language, right? But
Yeah.
and I think you can shape it and shift it and revise it as you go along and learn how to say no better,
Yeah.
more effectively, right?
Yeah.
But if no's too hard, okay,
Yep.
figure out how to apply it in a way that feels safe and comfortable but still gets the job done.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
I'll pass it back to you. Becky.
I have 2 points I want to make, and then I'll throw it to you, and then I have a question that I want to end with. I know I started with a question, but I have a question I want to end with. But one of the things is, we get a lot more when we start saying no, right? We get more time.
Ooh,
We get more
good.
alignment.
Yes.
We get more margin. We have more joy. We get more presence. I mean, you said a bunch of them at the beginning, right? We feel more ease. We feel like we have more space. We are more creative. We like a lot more comes by saying no because we're holding space for more. Okay,
Love it.
so I want you I
Yes.
want you to hear that. And I know that we talked a lot about like why we say yes and why we don't say no and the conditioning and the programming that goes into that, and I think that that's true for every human being, but I think there is an even bigger truth for that for women in particular, and not just women in America, women all over the world,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I want you to know that you can say no and you are still loving, you are still strong, and you are still enough. Saying no to something does not change that.
Amen.
Saying,
Yes,
no,
yes,
I can't
yes.
be on the PTO. No, I can't do this thing. No, I'm not going to accept this in this whatever, right? Like, whatever that no is, like, that does not define you. It protects you,
Mm-hmm.
right? The only thing that gets to define
Yes.
you is you. And you are loving, you are strong, and you are enough. Period.
Mm, beautiful. I'll add. I have just one little thing to add to that, and that is that yes, we get more things open up, right? The when we say no, there's all this space opened up for us to have more positive experiences and do more and be more with ourselves, right? But also, I think we get attached to saying yes because for fear of what we're going to lose if on in a transaction.
Yep.
We're focused on the wrong thing. We're focused on loss. We're focused on if I say no, I lose. But flip that script a little bit. What happens if you say, well, if I say no, I win? Or if I say no, I get this. Whereas if I say, whereas in the past you may have said, well, if I say no, I don't get, or I lose out. And Becky, you're very good about this very intentional, deliberate language about around like I get to versus I have to, right?
Yeah.
And I'll let you say more on this, but it's a I think it's really important to just say that I think a lot of times people we say yes because we're afraid of losing, but we don't acknowledge the fact that by saying no, we actually stand to gain a whole heck of a
Yep.
lot.
Yeah, no, I yes, I there's not much more I can say to that other than yes, like I don't know. Have you heard of the spoon theory?
No.
And this is used. It was actually I think first brought kind of to light by somebody who was dealing with a condition that cannot be seen on the outside, right? And
Mm.
they talked about like I only have a certain number of spoons to give a day,
Oh.
and like when they're gone, right? Like
Hmm.
and so if I'm choosing to give one of my spoons, like that's a big thing. And I'm like, man, we can all take away from that, right? We all only
Sure.
have a certain there's only so much of us to give and with that. And yeah, we like you said, we do get the choice. We get the choice to say like is this the best use of my time, of my talents, of my energy, of my space, of my this. Because once you give that and you say yes for that day, you cannot take it back. Like after you've said yeah, I mean you can, but like you do the action, you can't take that action back, right? And I think that there are situations where we get back, right? Like maybe it's going to lunch with a friend and we give a spoon, but we also get a spoon, right? Like,
Yes.
or something like that. I think that there are actions where it's give and take, but like like I said at the beginning, your pot's only so full. You can only hold so much in this space, energetically speaking. Like,
Yes.
can you give that energy? And it's funny, I have been in several situations recently where I'm watching people and they are closing energetic loops that have just kind of been open, not because of their own things, but because of other people and other people's choices and the things that are happening as those loops are closing, amazing, right? And so I would say, like, that's kind of the question that I wanted to end with, is like, what's one thing that you get to say no to this week? Right? If you don't you don't have to say no to anything if you don't want to. But if you do, like, what's one place where you get to say no this week? Right?
Gosh,
And
I
and you don't even have to
my-
answer that question. Like, you don't have to. I'm saying, like, but like for our listeners too, like, what's one way that you get to say no this week? Right? Because we talk about this, but the reality is this can be a big, hard change for some of us.
Mhm.
Learning to say no for me was hard, and it is still hard today. Right?
Yes.
And I'm way better at it than I used to be, but it's still hard today. Right? And so really look at this week and say, like, what's one place where I can pause and say, I can't do that. Or that doesn't serve me. Or I don't have the space in my thing. And again, that doesn't change your value. It doesn't change your worth. It doesn't change anything. It is you taking care of you, and ultimately by taking care of you, taking care of those beautiful little humans that are yours too, and those relationships that are yours too. Because everything is affected by that. We cannot pour from an empty cup. It doesn't matter. We can't do it. We can give all that we have, but if our cup is only 20% full, if our cup's only 30% full, that's all we can give. That's it. We have to say no to make ourselves a priority. We have to do that, because by doing that, we're able to show up more fully. It is the opposite of selfish. It is selfless to say no.
And it feels great. Practice.
Yeah.
It feels great.
Practice.
It really does. It really does. And one thing, Becky, that I think I need to say before we end here, and it is that there are take backs too. And what I mean by that is, if you said yes to something and that something no longer serves you,
Yep.
take backs are fair game.
Yep.
Hey, I'm sorry. I realized that I said yes to this earlier, and now, unfortunately, it's not going to work for me. I can't do it. Right? There are takebacks. Same goes with saying no to someone. Hey,
Yep.
My answer was no, and I've decided that that it does feel right, or the timing is good, or whatever those words are. Right?
Yeah.
I think it's important. It's important that we give ourselves the grace and space to acknowledge
ma'am.
that it's okay to change our mind and have a take back, because our instincts in a moment, they can be wrong, right? Our reaction, our our quick answer might not feel right the next day. It might not feel right in 2 or 3 days, right?
Yep.
And I think it's important to acknowledge that, that there's ebbs and flows and things can change.
Agreed. 1000% agreed.
Yeah. And just be gentle. Be gentle with yourself as those things change. And find the language that's comfortable for you to explain your decisions if you find yourself in a situation requiring explanation. Otherwise, no explanation required.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's all for today.
That's all. Have
And
a great week,
thank you for
ladies.
joining us for this series. We love the series, and I think this is number 2 for us, and I'm certain there'll be more. So thanks for listening today. Until next time.
Until next time.